He's known simply as Junior. You don't need to add a last name. As a driver, he won 50 career races. As a car owner, his teams have won 136 events along with 125 Busch poles. Simply said, this man is stock car racing. Now the car owner for both Bill Elliott and Hut Strickland, he joins us tonight as we spend an hour at the shop with a true racing original. Junior Johnson is the guest on This Week in NASCAR. And now, from the Junior Johnson Racing Shop in Ingle Hollow, North Carolina, here's the host of This Week in NASCAR, Eli Gold.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rhonda, North Carolina. Welcome to the Junior Johnson Racing Shops. This actually is home to the Budweiser Ford, the McDonald's team shops, about 4 miles up Route 421 here in Wilkes County. But tonight the doors are open to us as we spend time with a man who, as we've already described, is truly a racing legend, a racing original, Junior Johnson. If you've got questions for Junior, you're welcome to join us on that toll-free number, 1-800-292-5551. That'll put you in touch with us tonight here at Junior's Shops in Wilkes County, North Carolina. As far as the news of this week is concerned, of course, the big stories have come in and around the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Testing took place on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for the Busch Series and Winston Cup cars with the new aerodynamic package on board that NASCAR has mandated to help slow the cars without going to the carburetor restrictor plates. Many of the teams said that the cars are just a little bit too loose to handle. Other teams said they found the combination very suitable. Dale Earnhardt's team tested only 1 day and then left, said, we're ready to go. Whether it's a psych job or indeed the Goodwrench team is ready, we'll have to wait and see when they get to Charlotte next week. But that's what's been taking place this week. We'll talk more about that with Junior in just a bit. Also behind the wheel, Rick Wilson is back this week as the driver of the STP Pontiac. Missed last weekend after cracking a couple of ribs at Dover, but he's set to go at Wilkesboro here this weekend. Also look for Dick Trickle to drive the Phil Parsons car, the Mannheim Auto Auctions Chevrolet machine. That's on tap for this weekend as well. So you're up to speed on the news of the week. Now to our special guest, a gentleman who has done it all and done it all so very successfully in the world of NASCAR racing, be it in this scenario as a driver or, of course, as a very highly successful car owner. Junior Johnson, a tough competitor either way. Great to see you here tonight. Thanks for letting us come by again.
Glad to have you, Eli.
This has been always been a treat for us. There are people all across the country who have a chance through this show and many others to see racing shops, but they always want to go back to Junior's shop. And this, I guess, is the third year we've been here. But you have kind of split up the operation now. You've kind of outgrown what you had here.
Well, with a two-car team, you just kind of were running over top of yourself all the time inside the operation we have here. So it's really geared for just one team. And that's the reason we built the other facilities for the 27 team, and it's about 4 or 5 miles down the road. But, you know, all the engines and stuff like that come from this part here.
So talk to me about this week. There's so much of a scientific nature involved in getting these cars now set to go with that new aerodynamic package, the 5-5-51 rule that NASCAR has inserted now with the new air dam rule, the rear spoiler, the height of the car. How did you guys find the testing at Charlotte? Was it easy to zero these T-birds in on something workable?
Well, not really. My boys stayed there 2 days, and the first day they didn't find anything that Bill could, you know, nail to the ground or hut either one. And the second day, when about 30 minutes to an hour before the track closed, they finally hit on to what tightened the car up, and they feel pretty comfortable with it now.
I would think, if nothing else, certainly, this is a far more financially reasonable way to slow the cars down. And I guess we saw roughly a 4-mile-an-hour speed change from what the teams had been running at Charlotte to what they were running there on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. It's got to be a whole lot cheaper than, again, going to the restrictor plate engines, I would assume.
It's pretty hard to say which one's the cheapest, because if you have to go test 2 days and you spend a lot of money doing that, the restrictor plate thing we've worked on so many years now till it's just a size plate that you put on it creates how fast you're going to run. If you go back and work out a new configuration of wind tunnel stuff that you're going to have to run, then it's going to get pretty expensive till you work it out. It's hard to say which one's the best, really.
Junior Johnson is our guest this evening at his racing shops. This is home to the Budweiser Ford. As soon as we come back, your phone call. So give us a call here on Prime Network, live tonight from the Junior Johnson and Associates shop in Rhonda, North Carolina. We'll be right back. That's a scene at Daytona Beach, Florida. Bill Elliott trying to get a comment from Junior, kind of shies away from the microphone before leaning in. The crew chief on the right there, Mike Beam, and on the extreme right of your screen, Larry Beluski from Daytona International Speedway, orchestrating that particular press conference as you all getting together with Budweiser and announcing your plans. Let's talk about your race teams this year, and obviously with a man who has won so many events as a driver or a car owner, you know how to put a team together. Mike Beam is a fine crew chief. Bill Elliott has won races and championships and Winston Millions and so on. Yet September dawned and the car had led only 3 laps all year. Were you just sitting in the back of the shop here scratching your head trying to figure out how to get everything back on track?
Well, the start of the year right after Rockingham, I had my operation and that slowed me up for about another 2 or 3 months. So they was kind of on their own, but when I got out and got back to where I could get back into it, we started, getting better and better and better. We've showed signs that we're back where we need to be, and then we slide back a little bit. But I think it's the new team, with Mike and his boys, working back with Bill, which they was with Sterling Marlin,
right
before that. They've all got back down to where they should be, and I think from here on they're going to, be right amongst them all the time.
Bill seems to have that intensity. If you look in his eyes, the last couple of weeks, and I'm not a Bill Elliott expert certainly, but there's an intensity that I'm seeing here the last couple of weeks that I might not have seen all season long.
Well, I think that's true too. I see a lot, really a lot of, you might say, go to the front type attitude with Bill that I hadn't seen too much this year either. And I understand, you kind of get disgusted when your car don't run or drive like you want it to and that kind of stuff, and it all goes along with racing. But now he's got that greed in his eyes and his determination and stuff, and I think Bill, when he gets to Charlotte, Rockingham, and Atlanta and them places, you're going to see a different Bill Elliott. He's tested really good at Wilkesboro, and they come out of Charlotte with a good test, so I look for good things out of both teams from here on out.
Could be a strong end of the season for you. This other car behind me, the McDonald's Ford, this, of course, a first-year situation. Hut Strickland is the driver, Mike Hill as the crew chief, and when McDonald's hop on board, it was one of the biggest announcements, but that car has had its moments. 88 laps they led at Martinsville earlier in the season and so on. But now, as certainly you know, there are rumors aplenty in the garage area that there could be a driver change, that the situation is just not as healthy. What does McDonald's think? The trade papers are full of stories each and every week that Hut could be on the way out and so on. Can you share anything as to what the status is of that first-year operation?
Well, we got to wait and see the rest of the year, Eli. If Hut came up and won a race or two, that's what we want him to do. The rumors is stirring even with Bill Elliott, saying that Bill's going to leave at the end of the year. They ain't. Both of them's got contracts. We have contracts with the companies, and we got to run out them contracts to the end of the year. And then if Hut and Bill and myself sit down and we decide whatever's best for all of us, then that's what we probably will do. But right now, they're all just rumors.
Junior Johnson is with us. We welcome those of you joining us down in the Houston, Texas area on HSE following some National League Baseball. We welcome you in as we go now to the phones. And Dwayne in Valdosta, Georgia. Welcome to Junior's shop.
Hi, Eli.
Good evening, sir.
Great show you have there, and nice talking to you, Junior.
Thank you.
Question I want to direct to you fellas tonight is, I have a dirt track car I'm building to race at my local dirt track here in Valdosta, Georgia.
Okay.
And I don't want to stop at dirt track racing. I want to end up with you fellas there someday, hopefully, Lord willing. And I want to know how would I go about getting prepared for ASA or BGN race as far as license goes and car preparation and, you know, so forth, and ins and outs and stuff like that.
And
also, Junior, I was wanting to know if you could give me an impression of Darrell Waltrip.
Okay, as far as licensing goes, well, that's the easy part. You just contact the sanctioning body of choice and go through whatever paperwork and applications for a license that they would mandate. But a dirt track beat, you know, you take a look, Junior, we've got so many guys who have worked from go-kart racing, from dirt track, from asphalt, from you name it. Is dirt a good way to make your mark in Winston Cup?
I think you definitely have to come from the dirt to do the right kind of job today. Most of you good drivers, your Earnhardts and them boys and Darrell and so on and so forth, every one of them came through the dirt before they got to the asphalt. That's really where you learn how to handle a car and save it in a really spin-out type position and get it back and continue on. And it's definitely, you got to come through that to really be the right kind of driver in our sport.
I want to follow up right after we come back on the other part of his question, talking about Darrell Waltrip, one of the 20 men who have driven for Junior Johnson over the years. But right now, here's a look at Winston Cup point standings, 1 through 10, heading into Sunday's race here at Wilkesboro. We'll be right back. South Carolina, as we welcome you back to This Week in NASCAR. Junior Johnson in for service from the crew, although on this given day, I don't believe you were en route to one of your 50 victories as they popped the hood and it looked like Mount Vesuvius underneath there. But, boy, you had some fine runs over your career.
Well, I have, Eli, and that particular car right there was probably one of the most spectacular cars that ever hit the racetrack at the time. One of the fastest, most brutal horsepower type vehicles that I ever sat out in.
We're spending time with Junior Johnson. If you're just joining us, I'm Eli Gold. The name of our show is This Week in NASCAR. We want to welcome those of you now in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut joining us on the Madison Square Garden Network. Hello as well to those of you who've been watching Texas Rangers baseball joining us down in the Lone Star State. Before we broke away, a caller wondered about Darrell Waltrip. Of all the drivers, and I believe I counted 20 different men who have driven your cars at one time or another, I won't ask you to rate them, but is Darrell certainly, he can, I would guess, could see the pinnacle from where he sits on your rating chart?
Well, when you got Bobby Allison, Darrell Waltrip, Cale Yarber, and Leroy Yarber, and them guys, A.J. Foyt, and guys like that that strove for you, and Mario Andretti, there's just no way that you can say one of them guys is better than the others. Luckily, I had Darrell and Cale and Leroy in their prime.
Right.
And Bobby Allison, I think, was in his prime when he was with us, because the year that he drove 1 year for me, when we won 13 races. And you start rating them, you got to take in consideration you had them at the best part of their racing career, and some of them went on to continue their career after they left me.
Sure.
But I just wouldn't want to say which one I thought was the best.
But you've had some awfully good ones, no doubt about that. Let's go to Johnson City, Tennessee. Jimmy is watching on Sports South. Hi, Jimmy.
How you doing, Eli?
Good, thank you.
I got a question for Junior there.
Sure.
What kind of problems have you all had with getting cars prepared to race this year? And Eli, you don't talk about Bill enough on your radio show. I listen to it.
We don't talk about Bill enough. Well, we talk basically about who's running and getting the job done. And as we had talked earlier, this, at least to the latter portion of the season, has not really been a vintage year for Bill Elliott. But as he runs closer to the front, we certainly give him, and he deserves, the more airtime. Has there been any more difficulty in car preparation this year? Is the two-car operation still the way to go in your mind?
Well, I think if you got the right people and the drivers get along with their people real good, a two-car team is no different than running a one-car team. If you've got a bunch of boys that's not been used to working together and the driver hasn't been used to working with them, then you got a little learning curve that you got to go through with. And I think that's what we went through with the first part of this year more than anything else.
The fact that the other shop is now up across 421 as opposed to being just up across the creek out here, is there still that free flow of information outside of the engine shop? As we established, it all comes from the one place. Do Mike Hill and Mike Beam, are they encouraged to trade notes, or are they told to do their own deal?
They're encouraged to tell what works for their car, but oddly enough, Hutt and Bill Elliott does not have any comparison in their chassis combination.
Really?
So it's pretty hard to take Hutt's combination, put it on Bill Elliott's car, and get him going with it. These two drivers are a lot different than Sterling and Bill was. They could both run the same thing, basically. Hutt and Bill cannot.
Interesting. Let's go out to Lancaster, California now. Jim, good evening.
Good evening, Eli. Good evening, Junior.
Good evening.
Just want to say that we really love your show, Eli.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm really happy to be talking to a legend like Junior.
Sure.
Two things, Junior. I've always wanted to ask a driver or a team owner, with all the concerns for tire safety and condition, why is it that it never seems that anybody's concerned about running over the lug nuts in the pits? Isn't there any fear of getting a tire cut? And number two, if your two drivers were coming down to the wire in a fight for a win, do you personally have any team orders as to who's going to get the win, or you just let them go for it?
Is there a Formula One mentality in Wilkes County?
No, it don't make any difference if they come down for the win. Which one wins to me? If one wins and the other runs second, it's the same, don't make any difference. I've had that to happen with Neil Bonnet and Darrell Waltrip when I was running the two-car team 3 times, and I just let them fight it out. Darrell got the best of Neil twice, and Neil got the best of him once.
Just don't take each other out.
I got the same money. It didn't make any difference.
How about the pit stops? Have you ever heard of a guy cutting a tire, leaving the pits, going over a lug nut?
Not with running over a lug nut. They pretty round and got little corners on them, but I've never heard one of them punching a tire.
Yeah, I haven't.
They will take a brake rotor caliper off every once in a while if they get hung in a wheel. But that's the only problem I've ever knew to happen with them.
Of course, next week, the Winston Cup Series and the NASCAR Busch Series head to Charlotte. We'll be there as well. Our show next week, and for that matter, the week after, while the Winston Cup Series takes a break, we'll spend both Thursdays next week and again on the 14th at WTVI Television. That's Channel 42 in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's just across the street from the old Charlotte Coliseum. If you're heading to join us there at the studio, come on by and say hello. That's next Thursday and again Thursday on October the 14th from WTVI. Right now, as we break away, here's a quick look at positions 11 through 20 in Winston Cup points, and we're coming right back to more of your calls. Another of the many business discussions in which Junior Johnson has been involved over the years in the Winston Cup garage areas. Does it boggle your mind where this sport has come from that humble beginnings we saw for you years ago? Is it still unbelievable?
I don't think any of us could ever dream that it would go this far. And it just don't look like it's got any ceiling to it at all right now.
Yeah.
It just keeps growing and growing and growing. And then there's a lot of things you say, well, this will hurt racing and so on and so forth, but it never does.
No, and what a healthy sport we've got right now.
Yes.
Let's go out to Lakeside, California. Hey, Tim, how are you tonight?
Just fine. How are you guys doing? My family really enjoys watching your show every week.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have a two-part question for both of you, I guess, mainly Junior for the first one. I'd just like to know, is there a Chevy in the future for Junior Johnson once again? I really enjoyed watching your cars run when you were running the Chevrolets. And does Chevrolet or General Motors have a bonus package or bonus program like Ford does, where they award the top finishing Chevrolet or Pontiac in a race with additional money, or how does that work?
I don't see any rolling chassis around here that look like Chevys. Nothing with a bow tie on it.
I'm going to be with Ford for the next 5 years, I know. So, and the bonus thing, I have no idea where General Motors or Chevrolet has a bonus plan or not.
It's certainly not been made public if it is, whereas Ford, of course, has publicized their plan rather convincingly. Greensboro, North Carolina is next. Carl watching on Home Team Sports. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Eli.
Hello, sir.
Good show.
Thanks.
I have one question for you and one for Junior.
All right.
Junior, there's a lot of rumors in the paper about the possibility of Jimmy Spencer. Knowing you a man of few words, true or false? And Eli, how is the Unical Point Fund, how's it figured?
How is it figured? Well, the point fund goes on the basis of your finishes, and it's to be eligible for that $76,000 payoff, you must carry the Unical decal on the car using the Unical lubricants and all the products that they have available to you, and the points are handed out on the basis of successes on the racetrack, and that's how the end of the season payoff comes. Junior, we had talked about that other subject about a possible replacement earlier, and it's difficult at this point for there to be just a cut and dried yes or no answer, and not to speak for you, but nevertheless it was handled earlier that you don't know what the remainder of this season will hold, although we did acknowledge certainly the fact that the trade papers have been full of a number of rumors. Let's go up to Anchorage, Alaska. Lonnie, just in from bear hunting or something. Good evening. How you doing, Lonnie?
Hello, Eli.
Hi, how are you?
My question is, who is the big camera hog in a 76 T-shirt in Victory Lane that all the drivers love to see?
Well, that gentleman that you termed a camera hog is Bill Broderick. Bill, he said it, I didn't. Bill is the Director of Public Relations, Motorsports Public Relations for the Unical Corporation. And over the years, he has just gravitated into the job of orchestrating Victory Lane. And it really does need some orchestration because you have so many different photographers who are shooting pictures for different corporations. Everybody has to wear the correct hat to make sure that their company is represented and gets the right pictures to hang on the CEO's walls and so on. So Bill Broderick is the man. He's been around forever, though, but he's everywhere. I see him in Le Mans, France. He's a well-respected man, but he is rather prominent.
Well, I guess when he calls him a camera hog, he's pretty good size, so he covers the whole picture.
He's a good-sized man. Let's go down to Vero Beach, Florida. Hello, Carl, watching on the Sunshine Network.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Just want to let you know I enjoy watching your show.
Thanks.
And I got a question for Mr. Johnson there.
Sure.
With the restrictions plate and with them changing the aerodynamics, they're slowing the cars down. Is it much of a challenge for racing anymore as it was when they didn't do it?
Well, if you don't work yourself to death with it right now, you ain't gonna go nowhere, and it's a constant challenge. That restricted plate thing is the toughest thing I've ever tackled. Time or two I've had it figured out where I had everybody beat with it, but that only lasts through that one race. You go back with the same thing and the thing won't run. It don't never do the same thing over and over and over. You got to find a different combination for it every time you play with it. So it's a tough knot, I'll tell you that.
Junior Johnson is our guest, team owner for the Budweiser Ford and the McDonald's Ford, and of course a 50-time winner himself in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Right now, as we break away, we're going to take a look at the names of a few fellows who are rather new to the sport. The Max Race Card Rookie of the Year crop. Here's how their battle is shaping up. We'll be right back. at the Junior Johnson Racing Shops here in Rhonda, North Carolina. We welcome you back with Junior. I'm Eli Gold, the Budweiser Ford, the McDonald's Ford with us. I really appreciate your having us in again. I do want to say thanks also to Jim Burton. He was our caterer here this evening, and we're just kind of sitting here all bloated more than normal after a great meal. We tried to convince one of our cameramen that was possum stew he was serving, but it was some of the best food you folks, you missed a great time here. Let's get right back to the phone lines. Saddlebrook, New Jersey. Terry, watching on the Madison Square Garden Network.
Hello, Eli. Hello, Junior.
Hi, Terry.
I was going to say you got a great show. I watch it every week.
Thank you.
And my question is for Junior. The first thing I want to say is I met Junior in 1989 at the June race, sitting outside a diner, and it was a real pleasure to meet you, Junior. You signed a couple autographs for me, and I still got them, and I always will have them. And I just want to ask you, did you ever consider Dale Earnhardt for a driver? And how come the sportscasters are always picking on you that you never smile at the racetrack?
Other sportscasters, that is.
Well, if I'd have got a Dale Earnhardt, I would have smiled. I had several opportunities to race with Earnhardt, but he and Richard Childress had a good operation going, and I helped put the thing together, and to tear it apart a time or two, I did. I had opportunities. It was just not the right thing to do.
We take your calls for Junior Johnson this evening. We want to welcome those of you who've been watching the Braves and the Houston Astros. Astros winning it 10-8 this evening. We know that many of you are also racing fans, keeping your eyes on that National League West race. We welcome all of you aboard now from the Junior Johnson shops. Let's get right back to our phone calls. Let's go to New Richmond, Wisconsin. Greg, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Hope you are both fine, too. Nice talking to you, Junior.
Thank you.
My question concerns like at Dover, where they had the mandatory cautions for the check the tires. Wondering what your feeling is on that, Junior. I guess my feeling is more they should let it go, and if they can't make the car handle, they should come in and pit on their own instead of having a mandatory pit.
And how many liberties did your team take with tire pressure? Because I think that was a major part of the story as well at Dover.
Well, we started out with pretty much the regular recommended pressure. Went up and down, and we didn't see anything that helped the tire at that point. And it was basically a problem that pressure didn't cure. It was just that for whatever reason, the tire was coming loose at the tread. And when it did, it didn't give any warning or anything. And I think it was wise and smart that they introduced the mandatory pit stops, because Mark Martin and the guys that hit that wall, proved that it was just too dangerous to take a chance on. And it didn't hurt the race anyway. It really helped the race, because everybody come back out with fresh tires, and they went at it again from that point on.
I don't know if DW or Kenny Schrader would agree.
Well, they ain't hit the wall in quite a while, so they might have felt like they won the gallon on it, but I think it was the best thing.
Junior Johnson is our guest. We're going to take a look at some of Junior's career highlights right now as we break away. Then more of your calls. Stay with us. We're coming right back. The McDonald's Ford racing team, Hutch Strickland on the right of the screen. Behind him, crew chief Mike Hill, the rest of the fellows pushing the McDonald's Ford at the Atlanta Motor Speedway earlier this season. As we welcome you back, we're at Junior Johnson's shops here in North Carolina with Junior. I'm Eli Gold. A lot of folks visiting here at the shop, including a lady joining us tonight from Ohio with a question. Good evening, Linda. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine. Hi, Eli. Hi. Enjoy your show very much. Hi, Junior. Good to be here. Junior, it seems that the wave of the future for the shops are not to let the fans in. Your shops are so open And I wonder how you feel about this. Do you feel we're a threat to visit you?
No, I think you're the one that's supporting us. So
That's right.
You can get in my place anytime you want to.
Yeah. Most of the shops, though, are open that I have experienced. There are certain areas that you can't go to because you know, you want to keep things pristine and clean, but I don't know of many folks in this business who aren't happy to see the fans come by and say hello. Mel is next on the phones, joining us here on This Week in NASCAR from Aiken, South Carolina. Hey, Mel.
Hello, Eli. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Sure can.
Okay, Junior. I think you just got one question answered there for me, is if we came by your shops, could we get in and take a look around maybe in the middle of the week or something? But I had another question about, is there such a thing as a two-car wind tunnel? And can you get a Ford pushing a Ford as good as a Ford seems to push a Chevy on these restrictor plate tracks?
Two Fords does not do as good as a Ford and a Chevy. Well, for what reason, we don't know. But if you, in Pontiac, for a Ford and a Pontiac hooked up, is the best combination of all of them. So that's hard to say exactly what it is, other than if a Ford's front end's better and the back end's worse and the Pontiac's better, then that air travels plumb across the top of the Ford and over top of the Pontiac and back to the tail part of it, and that's the best combination, seems to be, for us.
As far as the other element of the question, you know, you were telling me before the show that once you did these laser beam schematic drawings of race cars or street cars and so on, and here we have talk about two-car wind tunnels. The technology is really mind-boggling. Are there such things as two-car wind tunnels, and what do you learn off of these laser beam schematics and so on?
Well, you get the actual size of the cars, and you can compare the cars where they're smaller and bigger and so on and so forth, and you can lay them down on the floor. Of course, you can't, or hang them up on the wall and put the schematics over top of each other. Mm-hmm. And you know exactly where you're getting beat or where you need to work. Exactly. Most of the time, if you've got a jump on the other automobile company, you can find that and where it's at, and then you go to working on the places where they got to jump on you at.
Wind tunnel-wise?
As wind tunnel-wise, they do hook them up in a wind tunnel to see what the cars does in a draft and that kind of stuff, but that still don't help you if you run in two of the same kind of cars, because you got the mix of the Pontiacs, Oldsmobiles, Chevrolets, Buicks, all of them there most of the time. So you need to have the mix of all of them, so you don't get that till you get to the racetrack. So right. It might help you and it might not.
This weekend's racetrack is the North Wilkesboro Speedway, about 5 miles up the road. They have a Junior Johnson grandstand there in honor of this gentleman. As we break away, why don't we take a look at some of the race information pertaining to the Tyson Holly Farms 400. Then we're coming back. More of your calls. Stay with us. Out of the back of the truck at a Winston Cup race as we welcome you back to This Week in NASCAR with Junior, our special guest. I'm Eli Gold here at the Junior Johnson shops. I'll tell you, folks love to sit around. You're a folk legend in this business. It's got to make you feel good.
Well, it does. You know, it's an honor to have the fans, you know, want your autograph and talk to you and that kind of stuff at the racetrack. And I enjoy meeting them. You know, as long as I've been in it, I see a lot of old fans and see a lot of new fans. It's, you know, really interesting, the stuff. They want to know what's going on and so on.
You still love this business, I can tell.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
College Park, Maryland. Chris on Home Team Sports. Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
I wanted to ask Mr. Johnson a question.
Sure.
I just started watching the NASCARs recently, last year or so, and started getting interested in them. I was wondering what the feasibility of using anti-lock brake systems on the cars would be.
Well, it probably wouldn't be as good as what we have, because we have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge in the brake systems that we have now. The only thing we have trouble with the brakes is boiling the fluid, and they've come up with a device now that circulates the fluid and stop that. The anti-lock probably would help if you hit oil or something other, but I don't think it'd be a help to us because we've probably got the best brakes there are available anywhere in the world as far as that goes.
Let's go down to Garland, Texas now for our next call. Larry watching on the HSE network. Hi.
Hello, Eli.
Good evening.
Fine show you got there.
Thank you, sir.
I got a question for Junior. With the lack of success Bill's had this year, I wonder if any of that could be contributed to maybe, say, too high a rear end to save the engine, or is it mainly chassis setup, or can you elaborate on that?
You can probably blame it all on me. I got big, broad shoulders. I can carry it up. I think it's a combination of the boys are all new to Bill, and it's just been a learning curve for them to get going, and they're starting to come around now, so it's a little bit late from what I thought it would be, but I was also out myself for a couple, 3 months with the operation, and that hampered the things, but...
You feeling good? You're looking good.
I feel great. I feel great.
That's super.
So I think it'll come around before the end of the year.
Let's go to the state capital of Trenton, New Jersey. Al on the Madison Square Garden Network. Hi.
Hi, Eli. Hi, Junior. How you doing?
Just fine.
Great, thank you.
Junior, I got a couple questions for you. One is you've been one of the most successful owners when it comes to getting corporate sponsorship, but what kind of strategy do you use? And also, Junior, over the year, I'm a big collector of NASCAR memorabilia, and what kind of memorabilia have you collected over the last several years in your many years of being involved in NASCAR?
I'm not a collector of nothing. If I can't win it and take it to the bank, I don't collect much of it.
A great answer. That's a very honest man, certainly. Let's take a question from Josh, who is joining us here at the shop. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Hi, Eli. Junior, my name is Charles White. I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Oh, excuse me. They have fed us the wrong name. Charles, good to have you with us.
My question is for Junior. Junior, if it wasn't for auto racing, what would you be doing today?
Probably farming. I grew up as a farmer, and I, work on the farm a lot and got several cattle and stuff. I would be perfectly happy just doing that.
Would you have been a retired pro baseball player? I know we've talked about that in the past. How close were you seriously? I know we talked about your prowess of throwing a natural curveball and so on, and a good live arm. How serious was a baseball potential career for you?
Well, that was all I thought about. I worked at it very, very hard, and my whole thought was being a Major League Baseball pitcher. And when I was about 15 years old, I turned the farm tractor over and broke my arm, and away went that dream that I had. But I never ever thought I'd be in auto racing. I always thought I'd be a baseball pitcher, and I think I would. I had
good stuff.
I was just a natural at it. It was one of them things that was gifted to you, and I was good at it at a young age, so if I'd have kept on training and working at it hard, I had to be a great one if I'd have stayed in it. But I'm satisfied with the career I had. I've had a good one.
You've made a lot of people happy. Junior Johnson is with us. Don't forget our next couple of shows on This Week in NASCAR. Next Thursday, and again the Thursday thereafter, we'll be at WTVI studios in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hope you can come by and say hello or join us right here on This Week in NASCAR. If you can't make it to North Wilkesboro this weekend for the 400, here's a look at the broadcast schedule, radio and TV for the event. We're coming right back. Don't leave us. Takes place this weekend, the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Downhill on that back straightaway, uphill on the main stretch. We look there at Jeff ProNyne on a Monday afternoon a year ago because of rain the day before, heading to victory at a racetrack that has seen a lot of Junior Johnson cars in victory lane as well. Let's get right back to the phone lines now and take a call from Oak Park, Michigan. Don is on the Pass Network. Hi.
How are you, Eli?
Great, Don. Thank you.
I want to compliment you on your show here tonight.
Thank you.
And also on your radio broadcast. We really appreciate your position rundowns that you do, because everybody isn't lucky enough to have a team that runs up in the front 10 all the time.
Well, we'll try and keep you informed as best we can. Thank you.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Have you experienced anything this year that would indicate that the Fords are experiencing bottom-end block warpage that would take out the center web or allow the center main to spin and shut off your oil flow to the center main and cause the crank to go and ventilate the whole bottom end?
Well, we've experienced a little bit of a back main bearing problem where the webbing's been cracking in that area. But it's not been a serious thing to us where it takes us out of a race or anything. But we do come back, tear the motor down, and every once in a while we see a crack in there that we have to change cylinder blocks and go to a new one.
Appreciate your call from Michigan as we head out to Clovis, California. Hello, Steve. Good evening.
Hello, Eli?
Yes, sir. Steve, how are you?
Hi, just fine.
Great.
I watch the show every week.
Thank you.
And I've got hooked on NASCAR ever since Sears Point this spring. Right. And I've given up on the NFL.
Good to have you on board on Sundays. Thank you.
Yeah, I watch NASCAR every Sunday. Eli, can you tell me why the driver change in the 41 car?
There had been talk that change would be taking place effective next year. Robert Presley had been rumored as the replacement driver for next year, with Dennis Setzer taking over in the Busch Series car that Robert Presley is vacating. And then the announcement just the other day that Dick Trickle, who was in the Charlotte paper today, as a matter of fact, would be replacing Phil Parsons effective this weekend. So that's the news as we have it. Justin is next with a question, joining us from Monroe City, Missouri. Hello.
Hi, Eli. And first, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to talk with one of NASCAR's legends.
It is a special treat.
My question is for Mr. Johnson. They spoke earlier on the show of possible driver changes. Have you contemplated any crew chief change possibly for the 11 car, especially in that Bill and Mike had worked together before? And I'm just wondering if they're gelling.
Well, Bill and I've had different conversations with Mike and Bill, and they're both perfectly happy with their situation with each other. And they'll have to be the one that expresses, you know, a disagreement or unlikenship between them or whatever for me to make a change. And right now that hasn't come about. I think they feel like both of them's just, you know, at the point to where they're going to take off and do real good. They have went through their learning curves, and I think it's best that they stay together.
We're coming right back to wrap things up from Junior's shop, so don't leave us now. Stay with us for the final moment. It's coming your way right after these words.
Car has been brought to you by Kendall Motor Oil. Pour in the protection. By the Heartbeat of America Chevrolet and your local Chevy dealer. And by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light.
All the successes your teams have had at North Wilkesboro, what's the key there? Do you have something stashed away in one of these closets here that makes the cars run so well there?
Well, the key's a real good short track driver that grew up on that kind of racetrack, and North Wilkesboro's a slick, tricky racetrack, and Jeff ProNyne, Darrell Waltrip, and them kind of guys grew up on that kind of stuff. So it's basically the expertise of the driver with just a good car that makes you a winner there.
Junior, this is one of those nights where we could have easily gone through 2 or 3 hours together here, and I hate to call it short, but the clock on the wall says we have to move aside. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck, and as always, thanks for the hospitality.
Thank all the fans for enjoying it and having me on.
Junior Johnson, our special guest, team owner for Bill Elliott and the Budweiser Ford, Hut Strickland and the McDonald's Ford. Remember, next Thursday we'll be at WTVI Television in Charlotte, North Carolina. Come on by and join us if you're in the Queen City. Same location in 2 weeks' time. That's it from Junior's Shop. Have a great weekend. I'm Eli Gold. Thanks for being with us. Good night, everybody.
We'd like to hear from you, so write us at